A few caveats and disclaimers. As you heard from Sarisha, NASA pays me sometimes as a space grant director, but I'm not speaking to them or for them today, or for any other government agency. I work this year in DC for the State Department, and that's a different story because I'm not talking about the State Department. I'm on the SEDS Board of Advisors. They asked me for free advice, and that's how this talk started, was that I gave a version of this at the SEDS Space Vision last year, and Jillian came up to me and said, "Wow, that was so great, and you need to talk about that." And so I said, okay. So here I am. And actually, it's more a history lesson than anything else. And the sad thing is, I'm not going to go to Mars. I finally come to grips with that. Most of you probably aren't going to Mars, but if you have younger siblings or children, maybe I'm talking to you, okay? I'm not going to Mars. I'm probably too old to be the Mars mission director, but I think I'd be good at it. And I would say I'm pretty good at it because someone's already played me in that role, because you look at these two people and you say, come on, where's the phone call? But speaking of where's the phone call, you know, when you think about The Martian, it's a picture of Matt Damon. I seem to remember going with someone, and there's a picture of Matt Damon walking naked, and lots of attention got paid to that. I actually have never met Matt. I've met the other guy in this picture, Drew Feustel. Why? Well, because he's a Purdue astronaut, and we kind of like our Purdue astronauts, and we kind of like our Purdue basketball. So if you are here at the end of this week, there's going to be the Big Ten basketball tournament, and we actually have just won our 23rd conference tournament, conference championship, which means we have as many conference championship trophies as we have astronauts. So we like to talk about that. But those aren't the only people we should be talking about, okay? What does it look like to be an astronaut? Who is an astronaut? Why do we think about Matt Damon as an astronaut? Do we think about these two people as could be astronauts? The person on the left is actually one of the first Pakistani fighter pilots, female fighter pilots, to wear a hijab on active duty. The person on the right, Missy Cummings, one of the first American fighter pilots, was a professor at MIT and is now at Duke as an engineer. Those are I believe it was the first talk that said, oh, I want to be an astronaut, I might need to be a military person. But for a lot of people, that was actually, well, only guys do that. No, it's not only guys who do that, but do we remember this story? Now, this is actually a good time to talk about it. It's Women's History Month, right? So let's talk a little bit about history. Let's remember a little bit about that. As it turns out, I'm at Purdue. Gus Grissom was the first of our astronauts. I work in Grissom Hall. I'm an old guy, okay? I actually get to say I'm the guy on the panel, which is kind of different than the last time I gave this talk. This is what an astronaut was to me growing up. This is what they looked like. This is what every one of them looked like. This is what the entire space program looked like. Now, as it turns out, that's not the only story that was going on at that time. In fact, Jerry Cobb was probably the lead member of the Mercury 13. How many of you have heard of the Mercury 13? Not enough. Okay? So there was a discussion about, hey, can women be astronauts? Of course they can. Well, no, it was not of course they can, but there were 13 women who actually went through the process of basically the same selection process as the Mercury 7. There were black astronauts. No, there weren't. Actually, there were 2 selected, and it was interesting looking for this. Both of them were historically noted as the first Negro astronaut. The one on your left is Robert Lawrence. The one on your right is Ed Dwight. They were both named to their programs in probably 65 or so. Lawrence for the Air Force program, Dwight for the NASA program. Why didn't I learn about this as a kid? Well, now you do. Now we talk about these things. This is the reference to the movie Hidden Figures. Some cool folks in here. Part of the story that, maybe we should be talking about this history to show how many people are part of the space program, how many people are part of the story, how many people are part of the history. Now, if you go all the way to the left to the woman in, I guess that's fuchsia, is Katherine Johnson. That's the real Katherine Johnson. She was actually originally hired for NACA, the precursor of NASA, to do that math that I can't do because it's really, really intense, impressive. This is what she did for decades, and now the main computing center at NASA Langley is named for her. There were other people who were doing part of this work. Mabel Roy is a human computer becoming a computer programmer. Oliver Smoot, I keep getting him confused with the Smoot that the MIT Harvard Bridge is measured in, but no, it's a different Smoot. He was working at Marshall. These were also part of the African American history that I really do wish that I had known about this. So I'm really pushing, I'm asking for you to tell these stories for the kids that you see when someone else tells them, well, you can't do that, okay? That's a more recent picture of Katherine Johnson. Supposedly, she said that President Obama is very, very nice, very charming. As part of the Space Grant Directors Conference, she was just the winner last weekend of the Distinguished Service Award given by the National Council of Space Grant Directors for her work, both as clearly as that orbital mechanics goddess, as an educator, as a mentor, as a leader of a family. So this is Katherine, and her husband of 50-something years, I lost track of the number, and several her children, grandchildren. This is younger Katherine, the daughter, and Joylette. They are shown in the movie as little kids. Actually, the movie kind of squishes things together. They were actually in college by the time of John Glenn's flight. But don't underestimate how those ripples of inspiration can play out. So this is a beg, okay? Go out and get somebody else excited. Get somebody who represents the entire range of what the history of the space program looks like. Get them excited. So if I say, yep, that's Katherine Johnson, that's a magic figure, a hidden figure, not hidden any longer, but a magic figure, a mythic figure. And when I grew up, those astronauts were very far away, very distant people. One of the things that I'm starting to appreciate now and what I want to share with you is those people aren't so far away anymore. Because as it turns out, I said that there was this dinner, and lo and behold, I got to meet Joylette and Katherine And they told me to tell you this story about how Katherine, their mother, pushed them to learn and to pay attention and, in fact, to focus on doing your job. Your job is to go and do, go and inspire, go and mentor. That's just doing your job. And speak the truth. The joy of math is that's the truth, and it's the truth today, tomorrow, the next day. Answer all the noise with the truth, because history is not that one guy, that one person far away. History is what all of us do every day. Thank you.